All right. You're listening to the Dead Man's Stone podcast, a show that's about horror, writing, news, and drama, all about having a good time. It's all about having a good time, okay? It's a live show brought to you live from a trailer park deep in the heart.
For a good time called Jesse.
For a good time called Jesse. Hey. We got to be clean tonight.
I got your number off the restroom wall. That's how I got on the show.
Hey, don't dox me now. Don't you do it. All right, guys.
Be good, boys.
Oh, what are you gonna do, Tammy? You gonna whip us? Huh?
Yes, I will.
Are you really? I don't think so.
That sounds like a tease.
I know, right? Oh, all right, guys. So yeah, your host, Mr. Deadman. You have SK there, the life coach. I can unscrew your life. We gotta be good. All right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Tammy's gonna bring out the whip.
Yes.
See, watch.
Ooh.
See how effective this is. The life coach that can unfuck your life. See, you can't even.
It doesn't
didn't
work.
quite cover.
What? Ah.
And by not quite, I mean not at all.
Oh,
Not
sweet.
at all.
Okay, well, we tried. Maybe we got to get a better censored machine. Okay, I got to hear. And we got Tammy G. She pretty much enhances the show. Let me switch this over. Okay, people are just looking at your tits right now. That's what people are looking at.
Oh my god.
Hey! The show's up here.
Supposed to be clean now, guys. Mr. Roberts, how's it going?
It's going really well, guys. It's going really well.
Oh, it's gonna get any better because opening it up for $5 shots. By the way, I got a bottle of Gentleman Jack that I need to finish off, and a shot glass here that's empty. Y'all can change that though. Streamlabs.com/MrDeadmanDT, and I share that money. Well, not with the guests, but you know what I'm saying. It's my liver on the line.
We shall see. No,
Uh-huh.
So how do the $5 shots work? Somebody donates money and then you do a shot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what are you drinking tonight?
Gentleman Jack.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a real deal.
And the link's on the screen there. I guess I can put
I
in the
gotta
chat.
give
too.
you credit though, Jesse,
Yeah.
on that. I mean, getting paid to drink—that's awesome.
Right. That's
Yeah.
how you do it. That's how you're supposed to do it. Instead of spending money at a bar for shots, why don't you
Right?
pay me for the shots?
Yeah, you're like the cute girl at the bar that people are just throwing money at, trying to get you shots, get you loaded.
Yeah.
Hey, that's usually me.
Maybe we can.
That's like the girls I heard at a bar one time walking out, going one to another. They said, "Drinks are really expensive when you pay for them yourself."
I don't
Oh,
know what
that's
that's
great,
like. I
man.
don't think I've ever bought myself a drink.
That's a tit advantage right there.
Yeah.
That is a
It's
total
my
chick
drink.
advantage.
Boop advantage.
Yeah. Right. Oh man.
Whatever. Don't
All
hate.
right. All right. So, by the way, before we get on to what Clark Roberts is all about, by the way, this guy, he published a book that is actually making money. So that's actually happening. We're going to talk about that.
Oh, we got a unicorn.
Yeah, we got a unicorn here. But something else is happening.
Are you talking about me?
Yeah. Mr. Roberts, you're the reason
Oh.
why Dead Man Stone was actually going to have money.
I thought there was somebody else in the room that we didn't know about yet.
Oh, man. Oh. I got to talk about something. Okay. I don't know if you guys know this, but Brian Keane pretty much shouted us out in a way. Are you aware of that?
No, it wasn't. Don't hedge on that. He actually did.
Yeah, He did.
Really?
Yeah.
For Dead Man's Home?
he did. He did. It's kind of
That's
interesting.
really cool.
Let's play that.
Like he has his own podcast too, or does he do it on the podcast?
No, he didn't do it on his. He did it on Max Booth's podcast, Max Booth the Third. Yeah, he's also a horror author. I'm not really too familiar with all his stuff.
Oh, have you read some of Max Booth's stuff?
No, I have not, but I heard it was really good.
Oh my gosh, I've read the stories. The guy is the real deal. The guy is legit as a writer. I mean, the guy. If that guy can't make it, I'll say this. I really mean, if that guy Max Booth can't make it big, or Chris Miller can't make it big,
Oh, he's gonna make it big.
then the rest,
for sure.
then the rest of us have no hope.
Oh, Chris Miller.
Because I really mean this. I've read some of Max Booth's stuff, and I wrote a kid's book. Max Booth writes horror, and it is really, really good. And Chris Miller, another one. I mean, if those guys don't make it, it's just like, you know what, just wasn't in the cards or something. Because those guys are really, really good at what they're doing.
Very talented. Now, here's a soundbite from this podcast, so you know I'm not making it up. Okay, here we go. So, by the way, this is Max Booth's podcast.
Please, do you want to do a podcast? Do you want to write books?
I want to do a podcast so successful that I eventually drive you out of business. You listen to this podcast and you go, man, why am I even trying this? Max Booth, he has Ghoulish. That's the only podcast that anyone should be making. And you just shut down and you give up, and then it's just me, baby. I'm on top.
All right. Well, that's a noble goal.
Yeah.
You know, I can respect that goal. I mean, that sounds like me 20 years ago. The first thing you would have to do, you'd have to find a way to take down Jesse over at Dead Man's Tome, because Dead Man's Tome, that's
awesome.
They are doing a lot of things so that I don't have to do them on my podcast anymore. I find that I'm letting them report on the controversies in our business more often than I'm reporting on them. So the first thing you'd want to do is figure out a way to take down Jesse and his co-host Becky and
Well, I mean, that's already taken care of. But so take us down, guys. Take us down. Is that a challenge?
I feel bad right now that I didn't realize this was a competition with him, that he was doing a podcast. And I just gave him a shout out about how great his writing is. I didn't know he was trying to take down Dead Man's Tome. Let me just say this now on the record. Max Booth sucks. Okay, I cracked all the good stuff. I mean, if he's trying to take you down, he just sucks, man. I'm just going to go that way, and hopefully he doesn't know where I live. But in all seriousness, the guy is a really, really good writer. I haven't ever listened to his podcast, but...
we haven't got to the rest
that's
of
really
the part.
cool. Brian Keene, I mean, that guy's big time.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing hearing. I mean, I heard about this from Tony. He was like, "Man, did you check this out?" No, I need to. That's pretty cool. And here's the thing: I might have to do a response to this, because here's what Max Booth says.
the rest of their cast.
Okay, I'll add them to my list.
What is this list you're making? Is this like a list of guests you're going to have on your show?
No, a list of podcasts I'm going to get shut down somehow.
Okay.
Yeah.
The second thing I would recommend is actually learn how to do a podcast.
By the way, even with the full context, the full thing about that, I don't know too much about Max Booth as an author. Here, he's amazing. And I know he has another podcast that's pretty good, from what I hear. But yeah, Brian Keene, I don't know if it was a bit he was doing, but he was like pretty harsh towards him.
I know. It was hilarious. I don't appreciate being called the rest of the cast, though, I got to say.
Yeah, right?
I wasn't part of it yet, so I'm not going to be mad.
Yeah, but you are the improvement. You are the upgrade. So
That's right.
Okay.
Have you had Brian Keene on this show?
Yeah, actually, during the 24-hour show, we did.
Oh, you did? Okay. Yeah, I mean, Brian Keene, man, I mean, he's really, really well known in horror writing. I mean, he's not Stephen King, but if you're into horror, you know who Brian King is.
That's
Brian
right.
Keene is for sure.
Okay,
And
so
wait, is this a show that's after Joe Lansdale?
yes, it is.
That was last
There
week.
has been, like, Joe R. Lansdale is like, I mean, I really, really mean this. I put him with his writing right below a Stephen King or Clive Barker, Peter Straub. I mean, huge fan of Joe R. Lansdale. Have read a couple of his books out loud to my wife, and we really, really, really are fans of Joe R. Lansdale. That's another guy that's just made it. And
It was a great show with him on. He was a fantastic guest.
It was, but it was like he was a great guest, and it was so cool listening to him and listening to him talk about writing. But in a way, it was kind of like having your heart ripped out and then stomped on, because at one point in time he was sitting there saying like, "You think your writing's good?" And he's like, "But you suck, man. Your writing sucks." And in a way, it's like, oh, he's talking to people like me. He's talking to the rest of us on that, but he's being honest. I mean. Right. That was really interesting to hear, especially, even he said when he first started, his writing he thought it sucks now, and that's just part of the process, I guess.
Yeah. It's a big guess,
unless
man.
unless you're just doing cookie cutter template shit where you're cranking out the same stuff in different flavors all the time, your writing is going to get it better.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Lansdale was a fantastic guest, man. Probably one of the biggest guests we had on the show. It had a lot to say, and I like his attitude. I like the way he said it. Now, if Tammy G can get some, I don't know, show, maybe she can impress us. Maybe she can get Bruce Campbell on the show. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm working on it. I told you. I'm doing
awesome.
my best.
Stop it. Are you being serious? Bruce Campbell?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And we get a recommendation from Joe.
Yeah, right? That'd be sweet.
Oh, that'd be
I'll reach
awesome.
out to Joe.
You see, people can't say no to her. That's the thing. All right.
Well,
Tammy, they were really giving you a hard time at the end of that show too.
Well, well, yeah, she had an interview. She had to get the job, right? We can't just bring up anybody. You got to make sure that she's
right.
And you remember what he said about me, so I'm sure he'd help out.
Yeah, that
if I asked.
People want to listen to you, not me. Right?
Exactly.
In fact, I should probably enhance the show by putting your face on here, and you just talk. You just, in fact, you know what? Ask the first question. Ask the first question to the guest. How about that?
Oh my gosh! You just go ahead and put me on the spot.
Yeah, put you on the spot.
Oh, I hate you. So, what inspires you? What about horror do you like when you write about it?
What do I like about horror when I write it? I have just, I honestly, I've always been a fan of horror ever since started reading and things like that. And I really mean this. I can remember my dad and my grandfather were both big readers of Stephen King. And when I was younger, I love sports and all that kind of stuff, but I really wanted to be able to read my first Stephen King book. And probably, that those two had a huge influence on me, that was what they read, and I respected them so much. And then I can remember reading The Thief of Always by Clive Barker for the first time. That was a young audience novel or novella or whatever, and I loved it. And then I can also, the real one that I really read that kind of opened things up to me was The Talisman by Peter Straub and Stephen King. I can remember I was in 7th grade, and my dad gave me that one to read. And then I was just hooked on the genre from there, even though The Talisman is fantasy horror, but that got me hooked on being a Peter Straub. And I don't know, I just like I'm into haunted houses, all that kind of stuff. I'm into reading scary stories to my kids. It's just something I really like.
Yeah, totally.
Did you have scary experiences as a child, or was it the lack of scary experiences that pulled you into enjoying horror?
Oh, I had scary experiences. I lived in, and I know because I do listen to the show, I know that you live near a cemetery, if I remember right.
As a child, yes.
The house that I grew up in was my town's old funeral home.
Oh, wow.
He has a boot there, this guy.
That's awesome.
We knew that. Literally, doors could pull out of walls and stuff like that. And our basement was huge, and there were rooms, you'd go into a room, and then your friends would come over, because I moved to the town, and they knew the history of the house more than me. And so, one of my neighborhood buddies, Mark Pauley, he'd go down there, and he'd be like, this is where back in 1933, this is where they worked on the bodies and stuff. And so, I'm literally like a first grader. I'm sitting there, my buddies telling me this and things like that. So I had a lot of fear of the house that I lived in.
Right.
I don't know, fear, but like you know, that adrenaline,
Yeah.
scared, was always cool. And then the new funeral home was right next door to our house. So the funeral home, it was, our house was the old one, and then the people that ran the funeral home, they built a huge funeral home right next door to our house too. So I lived in the old one, and then the one right next door was that funeral home, the town funeral home. It still is to this day.
Okay, so you saw a ghost.
So I had that.
So you're
My
like
dad
surrounded
loved
by
scaring
that.
us too. You know, my dad, I can remember like trick or treating the one year, coming back, you know, and him and one of his buddies are walking us kids around and stuff. We're having fun. And my dad ran ahead, like a block or two. And so we're like, where's our dad? We're all scared. And my dad's friend, you know, he was like, whatever, man, your dad's fine. He was probably drunk, but we're walking and walking, and all of a sudden my dad jumps out of these bushes, you know, he starts screaming at us. And I mean, it was just terrible for me, just terrifying. And I remember I ran so hard, and I got all the way to the door. I ran to my dad's house. I'm trying to open up the door, and I couldn't even get the door open. I was so scared. I fell down, probably peed my pants. But I was really young at the time, you know. I mean, I was like, I'm talking young. I was like 17 or 18 when this happened. So, you know. Yeah, when I was a young kid, like 17, 18, my dad, he used to scare the bejesus out of me. And I love it. I honestly, you know, and Jesse, in all seriousness, I love that my dad did that kind of stuff when we were younger.
I mean, that's what dads are supposed to do, right? Kind of
That's
mess
right.
with you.
I totally.
Yes.
I'm the same kind of dad. I would lie in wait around the house and jump out at my kids and shit. Hell, we do that to the dog.
Yeah, like we'd be, and I really, you know, we'd be watching like back in the day, you know, my dad had cable. It's one of the back then, you know, I'm talking going back to the 80s. Like not everybody had cable, but there used to be a show on USA, the USA Network, and it was called Saturday Nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember just, you know, my parents were divorced, and I can remember one thing I loved about going to Dad's was we got to watch Alfred Hitchcock Presents and Saturday Nightmares. And I just loved watching Saturday Nightmares. And there were all these old movies and things like that. And I don't know why I loved them, because then they would scare the living bejesus out of me, right? And then it'd be like 9:30 at night at dark, and then Dad would look at us kids, and he'd be like, hey, guys. He's like, I hate to tell you this, but nobody fed the dogs yet today. And so we're looking around, we're like, oh, dude, she's not going to make us go outside and feed the dogs, is he? And, you know, he's like, well, guys, you know, he's like, you know, I've got a sore ankle. He's like, I don't know if I can make it if something jumps out and gets me. You guys got fresh legs. So then, you know, he'd send us out to feed the dogs. And somehow he'd also be hiding in the garage. He'd jump out of the garage and stuff. And it was all good fun. So yeah, I mean, we had those experiences, and I absolutely loved haunted houses, that whole thing. Yeah, so I had all that stuff, and I loved it. I did.
That's cool, man. I mean, that's that's what I do with my kids. Like, I mess with them too. I kind of scare them at times because it builds character, right?
Yeah, and it's fun, and they're gonna remember it. And you know, like I got a 4-year-old daughter, and that's my old kid, and you know, I don't scare her too much. You know, I'm not crazy about it, but we, you know, like every other family, you know, they're teaching the kids like Old MacDonald had a farm, but we sing Old MacDonald had a haunted house.
Okay.
So then instead of saying a cow, Old MacDonald, you know, he had a werewolf, and then you do the werewolf noise, and then Old MacDonald, you know, next one he had a Frankenstein's monster, and then you do the Frankenstein monster voice. It was, you know, she knows Old MacDonald had a farm too. But we have this Halloween version of it, too, that we just absolutely love to sing with her, too.
So it sounds...
Man, and my wife's probably going to kill me for saying that on a podcast.
Man, it sounds like you had this whole kid horror thing down from the very beginning then. I mean, writing a kid's book... I don't even really mean a kid's book, because it's not like a children's book. It's a young reader's, I guess you want to say, like a Goosebumps style. The cover is on the screen now. It's Dead Man Stone Jr. presents Clark Roberts' Halloween Night on Monster Island. And
yeah, I don't know if I had it down because, you know, do you mind me talking a little bit about the
right ahead
of the book right now?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to like, I get talking and sometimes I don't shut up, but you know, you kind of threw this offer out to me. I mean, I've always wanted to publish a book. And, you know, when I was in my 20s, I published, I don't know, a handful of short stories at 10 or 11. And then I got a teaching job, and I just didn't have any time for writing, and it kind of went away. And then I had my kid, my daughter, and I literally, when she was like 1 or 2 years old, I said, well, how am I going to tell my daughter to do things that you want to do in your life when you aren't even doing it? You know, I looked at myself, how are you going to be able to say that to her? So I started writing again with my free time. You know, obviously I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I got my teaching career, and all that stuff comes first, but then I'm going to do this. I'm going to try, right? And so I submitted a few stories. I got published with you and some other places. And then I did the meat grinder contest with you guys. And my story won. And thank God, this says a lot about the community I come from and the community I live now. A lot of people, I think, clicked on that story and commented.
Oh, yeah, they did.
And I think you saw that. The Dead Man's Home saw that and said, hey, you know what? Go ahead and see what you can do. See if you can do a kid's book, because we're thinking about doing one. Do you mind me talking about this right now?
Yeah, that's fine. Go right ahead. Go right ahead. Yeah.
And let me know if I'm wrong about this.
Yeah, this is right. This is right.
I kind of felt like, man, if these people hadn't, you know, if friends and family and just people in the town, if they hadn't commented, if they hadn't clicked and showed interest in my story, I don't think this opportunity comes along for me. You throw it out there. You say, hey, I'm thinking about doing a young audience book. I'll give you a shot at it. And man, I can't tell you how much that motivated me. It was like kind of that carrot was there, and there was no guarantee, but I was like, I think I can do this, and I think I'll finally have a book published, which is what I've always wanted. And having that carrot there, to be honest with you, I was able to sit down every single night and say, okay, I'm going to tackle 1,000 words. And
wow,
before I wrote it, I'll be honest, I had to read an R.L. Stine book. I'd never read one before. And then I read a Jonathan Mayberry book, and that's an author here in Michigan. He writes the American Chillers series.
He's also been on the show before, too.
I don't know.
Jonathan Mayberry.
Who has?
Mayberry.
I'm sorry. It's not Jonathan Mayberry. I know who that guy is, too. It's Jonathan Rand.
Okay.
So Jonathan Rand is the guy from Michigan that I'm thinking of. I read one of his books, and I did the R.L. Stine and Rand book because more than anything, I was worried about the pacing. I'm writing a book for a younger audience. What type of pace? I'm assuming I want to keep it moving along, right?
Yeah. And then, I got that. I got the drift. I mean, sorry,
Yeah.
You totally get that from that book. Like it's moving along like it's like I felt like it was like, you know, like on a ride at a theme park. Like it just kept on going. One chapter built up to the next.
And that's why, you know, I kept the chapter short. And I'll be honest. I kind of looked at Jonathan Rand's writing and R.L. Stine's writing, and I said, I think I can do this. I can sustain this for 20 to 30,000 words. And so I kept my chapters short on purpose. Completely opposite of the short stories that I write. Like, I like to think anyways that my short stories are in depth for short stories, but I was like, man, I want to make this fun for the reader, fun for the kids. So I did, and that's what I thought of. I thought of a roller coaster, man. If you're in a roller coaster, you don't want a lot of downtime. You know, you want to go down the next hill. You want to hit the next loop-de-loop. And the same thing is what I was thinking when I wrote this book. And so, yeah, I read those guys, and I was like, I think I can hit this pacing right. And also I want to see, like you said earlier, how far can I go with the horror? Exactly.
That's
right. And so reading those two, I mean, I could have gone a lot farther than what I did. If anybody's listening to this and they're thinking about buying the book for a young one in their life, honestly, I don't think there's any bloodshed, to be honest with you, or anything like that. But it is. I like to think it's spooky, it's scary. The middle school students that I've had that have read it have told me they've really enjoyed it, and there were a couple spooky parts in it. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, having that care there, I was able to write 1,000 words a night, and then, you know, I got like 14,000 words. I had no clue how I was going to end the book yet, right? No clue at all. I'm writing blind. I don't do any of this outlining bull crap that some people talk about doing. And then I'm sitting there writing. I'm not lying. I'm word 14,000 exactly. Maybe it was 14,001. And bam, the ending hit me right then. I mean, it just hit me right then. And you guys do some writing. I know you do. When I get an idea, if I don't write it, it gets stale in my mind. And so I had
Stale,
this
it
idea
gets
for
lost.
the ending.
Right?
I don't know if it gets lost. So, yeah,
I mean-
some of them get lost, but for me, it gets stale. And the more I think about it, the worse it sounds in my mind.
Okay. You overthink
In this
it.
ending that I had, I thought, I knew the whole time I'm writing it, and I'm sorry if I'm going off on a tangent.
No,
here.
you're fine. You're fine.
The whole time I'm writing this book, I'm like, I don't want to do a Scooby-Doo ending. I don't want my bad guy to be just a human being wearing a mask and it's pulled off. I didn't want that Scooby-Doo ending. I wanted it to be a real, in my story, it's a werewolf. And so
And who doesn't
once
like
I
a
had the ending
werewolf?
on... What's that?
I said, and who doesn't like a werewolf, right?
Right. And once I had the idea there, I didn't want it to get stale. So literally after it was like 14,001, I basically wrote from 7 o'clock at night till 7 in the morning. And I got I think it was I got up to like 23,000 or 24,000 words.
Mm.
And I had a story done. I mean, so I did one all-nighter where I just wrote it. And man, I'm so glad I did it that way. And it worked out for me. Then I had to obviously do some edit, revision, and then I sent it along to you, and bam, there it is.
There it is. And this book is doing amazing. It is actually the only Dead Man's Tome book that's actually sold like this. Let me tell you this. So Dead Man's Tome has published some extreme stuff, right? We've done extreme horror, we've done sex horror, we've done erotic horror, there's all sorts of graphic stuff. It's the kids' book, the younger reader's book, the Goosebumps clone, if you want to call it that. It's that book that does well. So I'm over here thinking, this whole time, I've been chasing the wrong market. They say don't write to market, but as the publishing end, I'm kind of like, that's kind of what I'm doing, right? I'm kind of publishing what sells, right? Kind of, sort of.
Well, that wasn't why you did it in the first place, though, is it?
No, I would just want to take a stab at it and see what would happen. And
Well, there you go.
there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm still going to write my adult horror stories. I will. But I will. I had a lot. I did not think I would have fun writing this book. I was like, I saw this as opportunity knocking when you had talked to me about it. And I was like, I better answer the freaking door, man. Because again, it's like, how are you going to look at your daughter in the years in the future and say, hey, do something you like doing? And so I saw this as opportunity knocking. I didn't know if I was going to really enjoy writing the kids' book. And I sat down, I wrote the first chapter where these kids are on a roller coaster, and holy bejesus was I having fun. And I did. I really, really, really enjoyed writing the book. Like I said, I'm always going to go to the adult horror stories, short stories that I love writing too. But I got a feeling I'm going to continue to write some of these things because it really was a joy to write it. I really sat down and was looking forward to write every single day when I did this.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
definitely don't change your or stop writing your other styles, other genres. But it definitely has opened a door for me. I'm working on something and could be asking around, seeing, looking for other writers I've worked with before, and be like, you know what? I think you might be good for this. That's going to treat the Dead Man's Tome Jr. It's going to be kind of like an invite. Like, if I think
that's absolutely awesome.
Yeah,
I think that's awesome, man. I really do. I don't know if you know this, but I think that's how Hardy Boys books were all written.
Oh, really?
I don't think Hardy. I might be wrong, but I don't think Hardy Boys had one guy as an author. I think there were multiple writers that they asked to write that series of books. I might be wrong. Somebody maybe on the chat can clear that up and call me out on if I'm wrong, but I think Hardy Boys was actually written by many, many different writers.
The dread writer Roberts.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing I want to clarify.
Hey, by the way, I'm looking at the chat here too, and I know. Okay, I said something about an outline.
Oh yeah, I want to clarify some points too. All right, yeah, you go first.
Yeah, for me, it's bullcrap, and I totally get the people. But then again, you're also talking to a guy that's never been able to sit down and write an adult novel either. So maybe I need to readjust my sights and understand, because I've tried, and halfway through I get completely lost and muddled. So maybe, if it works for you, by all means, do it. You're cool tactic. You're probably doing better than me.
But isn't Lost and Muddled?
I didn't mean that in any way.
But isn't Lost and Muddled kind of a Stephen King kind of thing? I mean, if you really
and then you just kind of walk away at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean that is true. What he does with a lot of them, it does seem like that. Yeah, I agree.
And the other thing, Goosebumps. Oh no, I was not crapping on Goosebumps. Man, I love me some Goosebumps. I don't know about you guys. You guys used to read Goosebumps?
Yeah, nobody was saying bad things
Yeah.
about Goosebumps.
Okay.
I never read them.
Oh well, probably because you're like you're probably get what 30 when they came out, 40.
Yeah, I think my kids read them.
What's your favorite Goosebumps book?
In Goosebumps, for me, that I was literally just ahead of Goosebumps, because when I was younger, I would have probably ate that stuff up, but I do not remember ever reading a Goosebumps book. And so I think that became popular kind of like when I was in high school. So I didn't read any of it when I was younger. The first Goosebumps book I read was after I decided I was going to try to do this kid, and I was like, well, I got to at least see what the pacing of this stuff is like. So I picked one up, and I don't know, but I enjoyed reading it. I mean, whatever, dude, judge me, but I'm going to read what I enjoy. I'll probably read more Goosebumps books now.
My favorite one, maybe it's because my first one, I think was called Terror Tower or Night in Terror Tower. I don't remember exactly, but it's pretty cool. It had an awesome cover. It had like a executioner on the front with a big axe. Like, oh shit. Oh man, this is serious.
Oh, I love that little second grader, Mr. Deadman, running around with a book with a giant axe on it. Did he have the hood on and everything too?
Yeah, he did. In that book, I think there was a scene where there was going to be an execution, but they escaped it just in time, just in the nick of time. See, and that's the other thing I wanted to. Oh wait, Tammy, do you have a favorite Goosebumps book?
Honestly, I don't remember. I know I read them.
Mm-hmm.
But that was so many years ago.
Okay.
I don't remember if I had a favorite or not. I'm sorry.
That's okay. You got a favorite, like kids, I guess, younger reader horror? Like, what about scary stories to tell in the dark?
See, I like that better than Goosebumps.
Oh, well, that's
for me.
They're good, and they're more on like a
Yeah.
demented, creepy side, right?
But yeah, I mean, I was watching Nightmare on Elm Street at 5, so I liked the creepier stuff
Now,
at a young age. So,
but now, scary stories to tell in the dark. That's also kind of a younger reader thing too. Like, it's not.
yeah,
So they're kind of like in the same group, but they're not really the same thing. Like, one's definitely more twisted, right? I mean, would y'all agree? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Scary Stories is definitely more twisted, and the Goosebumps and even the book that I read is probably a little bit more to be fun, I would say, with some spooks thrown in there. But yeah, Scary Stories definitely is probably a little bit more twisted.
Okay. So my question I want to get, or the topic I want to get into right now, which, by the way, hey, I know I did the $5 shots, but I see we only have 2 likes here on the stream. Let's change that. If we can get that to
What?
I know, man. If we can get that to 5 likes, I'll down this motherfucker right here. I'm trying to be. I said it was going to be a clean show.
language.
Oh my god! I'm the one who has the soundboard over here. I'm the one who has the control.
Who's bleeping you?
No one's bleeping
Yeah,
you,
but
motherfucker.
why should you have control? Oh, he bleeps me.
I'll bleep you,
mother.
You like that? Now it's in
Sure.
power. I'm sorry, Mr. Roberts. I tried. I'm horrible.
What are we gonna do? Right? It's past 11 at this point, right?
Yeah.
It's past
Somewhere.
Here, I tell you what. I got a sensor sound. I'll suit. Make this kid friendly. Ready? Shut the f- up. You like that? All right.
Kids
Yep.
like farts. That's awesome.
the fun part down.
All right. No more of that. No more of that. Okay, but seriously.
I've been thinking. I don't know how much young adult literature even existed when I was that age, because I just stepped from grade school stuff into Michael Crichton, J.R.R. Tolkien, Silent Running, and these kinds of things. I didn't spend any time at all at young adult level. I just went into the adult stuff and just kept going.
Yeah, I mean, at your age, they didn't hand out participation trophies either. So, I mean, so, they didn't have like these, I don't know, like tricycle books to read. Oh, hey, before we get you on the hard stuff, let's try this book out. You know, read more Dr. Seuss. You probably didn't even have Dr. Seuss.
That's very common. Tell me if I'm wrong. You seem like you would have liked Gary Paulson.
Who, me?
I don't know the name.
Oh.
No? Okay. All right. Hatchet and nothing? Okay.
Oh, Hatchet, yeah.
I actually didn't read horror as a young person.
Oh, Gary Paulson was not. He's not horror at all.
No, but Hatchet's a
he's
good
more
book.
like a wildlife kind of guy. Hatchet. This kid has to survive in the wilderness with just a hatchet for a while, and
Oh, okay.
like that.
That was a cool book. Yeah, the kid makes it. It's over. Spoiled it.
Yep, the kid does make it.
He does
Spoiler.
make it. Yeah, he's not a wuss. Okay, but
Yeah, that would have been pretty interesting. But as in junior high, I was heavily into Tolkien and World War II novels.
well, there you go.
Oh,
There you
nice.
go.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool.
You can't even read World War II novels now in school. Too many Nazis in there. gotta censor that out.
They lost,
Read
by
World
the
War
way.
II novels.
Spoiler alert.
The Hitler person is a bad character. Let's just erase him from this book.
Yeah.
Oh, the Holocaust. Let's just delete that from the book altogether. Oh, man. Okay. So when writing a horror story, and you have to, especially if it's aimed for like younger readers, how do you do that without? Okay, how do you do that in maintaining that line without getting too extreme or becoming too kiddish to where you're kind of like patronizing, you know?
Yeah. You know, I've only done one. I mean, I'm not an outside. I'm not an expert. I do feel like mine it is somewhat kiddish. You know, if I'm just being honest. I do feel like I leaned, just to be safe, I leaned a little bit more on that side than the real horror extreme side. And I just kind of went for the fun aspect of it because I do work at a school and I knew I was going to be hopefully getting some kids in my school to read it. The last thing I wanted anything to was to have a bunch of parents coming after me saying, what are you doing? Why are you trying to give this to my sixth grader?
Yeah.
So I did. There's without doubt, I definitely leaned a little bit more towards the fun side. And I'll say it, my book's probably a little bit kiddish.
Yeah, it's definitely more kiddish, but that's okay, especially for the first Dead Man's Home Jr. book. I think it does well. It's a good entry point. And I asked this question because I'm struggling with it too. You know, there's a short story that's kind of out there called with the Pumpkin Bear. It's kind of like a throwaway title. It's just testing stuff out. But it's kind of more. There's a theme of like I guess domestic violence and not. But it's not like there's actual violence, but it's kind of there. There's like some overtones, like, oh, what's
it's implied.
Happen? Yeah, it's implied that the father's going to do something.
I think I told you.
Yeah, it's like you don't know if the father's actually going to beat the child or if he's just going to like
right
punish him for being so obnoxious about whatever he's afraid of, you know. So it rides that line. I was like, man, I got to be careful with this, but if it go too far, it's no longer kids. Right? It becomes a little too real.
Yeah.
But it's right there.
Yeah.
I'll keep it there.
I actually really, I read that story. I really liked it. Yeah, but I wouldn't, I mean, that obviously, like, 4th and 5th graders, I don't think would want to be reading that.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
But I'll be honest, I've read quite a bit. You know, I've read your stories, and the other ones that you've included one of your stories in, I love, that the He Is Risen one, your story in that one, I just absolutely love.
Oh, Zombie Jesus? Yeah.
I did. I absolutely loved that story. His flesh and blood part. That for a horror story, I just thought that hit the mark.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I thought that your Pumpkin Bear one, I mean, that was a creepy story, and I don't know, that almost to me does read like an adult story. It's not quite there. It's definitely on that line though. But I mean, it's a good story. It is definitely spooky. Kind of takes the Bloody Mary thing and puts a twist on it a little bit. I thought that was a really, really, really cool story though.
Oh, thanks, man.
I never thought of Hail Marys as a incantation.
By the way, one more like away from taking the shot. I'm just saying that. You guys are good. You guys are good. Okay, but Tammy, you have some little ones you care for and stuff like that. So, what are your thoughts about, I guess, younger kids reading horror?
How are you corrupting the young people in your life?
Yeah.
So, okay, so my niece, she's 7, and my sister and her husband are like pussies. They don't like anything scary, like at all.
Oh, sorry, I
And
forgot. I was
I'm
freaking
like-
on the job over here. I'm supposed to censor you. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. Sorry, scratch that word. They're scaredy cats, and they don't like to watch anything. But I have her watching stuff over here, and she loves it. I mean, she's kind of just like me. So, I don't know. I think you start them young, condition them, build character, and then they don't grow up being scared of things. I don't know. That's my take on it.
I actually really very much agree with that take. And I remember when my kids would have sleepovers with friends or cousins, and they'd be like, you know, what should we watch? And my girls would be, oh, let's watch Gremlins. It's funny. And the friends would be all like freaking out, scared of it. And my girls are laughing at it.
Ooh, Gremlins
I
is
was
funny, but
watching-
Ghoulies is not though. Ghoulies, that scene it's Ghoulies, right? The one with that's the one that has the scene with the toilet, right? The guy's going to sit down in the toilet. There's a little dude inside. You know what I'm talking about, right? Ghoulies 2?
I know what you're talking about.
come
That
on.
is, I'm pretty sure Ghoulies, yes.
Yeah.
That movie had me scared for like life.
Oh, you're such a wimp.
I had to check the toilet bowl now every time. I'm like, you don't know.
Oh
just
my god.
do you want your ass bitten? Wait, I mean,
Scared. I don't know. Like my niece, like she loves scary movies. I'll be watching something and I don't really want her to watch it, and then she'll totally get into it, and then she thinks it's funny.
mhm.
So I love it.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. Now, what is there a limit to what you would show your niece though? When it comes to horror movies, like would you show her like The Exorcist?
Probably not The Exorcist, because that's my favorite.
What about
But-
Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Yeah,
She's
some of the
7.
stuff she finds funny though. Like she watches, Halloween and those type of movies, and she thinks it's funny. We were watching Scream, and she goes, "Oh, he's cute, like his mask." Like it's just those things don't bother her. Now it has a lot of TNA. No, I'm not going to show her that. But
Oh yeah.
but I don't
Okay.
know. She gets a kick out of it. So
Well, let me ask you this: what did you like as a kid? Like when it came to horror, like is there certain themes? Like I know we talked about you kind of like more of the scary stories to tell in the dark than let's say Goosebumps. So let's explore that a little bit.
as a kid,
Yeah.
my dad, like I said, he had me watching Nightmare on Elm Street at like 5. So I loved all the like cult horror stuff. I think I was probably like 10 when I saw The Exorcist. That might have been too young. But just because of like my sensitivity to the paranormal anyway. So that movie kind of sat differently with me than like the slasher type horror movies.
Mhm.
And even to this day, like the more paranormal type demonic possession stuff gets to me more than anything else. But growing up, I loved slasher. Bloody, gory, the bloodier the better.
Bloodier the better. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's not where you started though. You got that way gradually growing up, you were drawn to the bloody. Okay. Well, what about the twisty kind of like gothic themes and horror? Like I know Clark Roberts, your book didn't really have that so much. It kind of had more of like this is like a theme park. You know, you're gonna see a bunch of monsters. It was like a monster party sort of thing. But what about like gothic, creepy stuff? Like you like that? You like that when you were a kid?
Like Hitchcock?
Yeah.
For me, as a kid, I don't know. I'll be honest. I've never been a big, and I might be on the wrong thing here. I've never been a big fan of Dracula. Not because it scared me or anything. I just thought it was boring.
You're like a Frankenstein.
I don't know why.
Is he sucks?
And I've always loved Frankenstein, though. You know, which I think people put that as gothic horror, and I've always loved Frankenstein. But as a kid, you know, like what Tammy she said about Friday the 13th when she was younger. I mean, that hits home for me because I do remember going to see Friday, not probably 5, but when I had an older brother and sister, and so my dad, you know, he'd take us to see A Nightmare on Elm Street to appease them, and he'd look at me and be like, hey, you can handle this. And so we'd go in there, and we just loved it. You know, I mean, and my dad just loved Freddy Krueger. Thought that, you know, he just loved, the best thing about Freddy Krueger were the one-liners, you know, right when he was going to kill somebody, you know, he'd have this great one-liner, and my dad would just be yucking it up and laughing like it was, like we were watching the Cosby Show, you know, so I get what she's saying there. That was, so I grew up on that thing. Children of Porn, you know, I can remember Malachi and Isaac, and when they took the one guy's hand in the cafe and they put it in the blender and then blood goes flying everywhere. I mean, you know, I watched that stuff when I was younger, and so I wouldn't call any of that stuff really gothic. I guess I just call it 80s horror, and that's what I was into when I was younger. And 80s horror has its own unique style. At least movie horror, it had its own unique style, for sure.
Yeah, it did.
Definitely.
It did.
I know.
Well, I mean, to the point where
I comment more on that.
To the point where Stranger Things was able to riff off of the style,
right?
And everybody just got it instantly.
Do you guys like Stranger Things?
I did. Did you not?
I thought the final season was disappointing.
Okay. Tammy, did you like it?
I didn't watch it. I haven't watched one episode.
Yeah, I'm with you. I haven't either. You know what? I mean, it's like I haven't watched it either. My wife started watching. She loved it. I'm like, I'm not watching that. Like, that's just, it's ripping off Steven Spielberg and Stephen King. I don't need to see something I've already seen. You know, that's just how I felt about it. So I have never watched it. I've never watched Game of Thrones either. My wife's so mad at me about that, but I
haven't watched that either.
Just because it's so popular, I refuse to watch it.
Wait. I'm sensing a trend here. Have you seen Breaking Bad?
I did. The few episodes of Breaking Bad I've seen, I liked. I did like Breaking Bad.
Okay.
Never sat down and watched the whole series, but the episodes of Breaking Bad I saw, I did like. I got rid of that.
What about other popular shows like The X-Files?
Breaking Bad wasn't like ripping anything off, man. You know, Breaking Bad was a unique. I think actually a unique show for when it came about. Stranger Things is just, I don't know. The whole intro is like, who are they ripping off? A combination of a Steven Spielberg movie and Stephen King's Needful Things. You know, I mean, I don't know. I don't need that. Already seen it. Already heard it. Already read it.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't see it that way.
Meanwhile, I thought R.L. Stein and Jonathan Rand, so
yeah.
What do I know? Right. And I would judge other people. I said, well, I had to read an R.L. Stein book to get the pacing down and everything. So I'm just saying, I can't get into Stranger Things. It's just, you know, I don't know, give me something new.
I liked Stranger Things up until I say season 3 really had me going pressing X to doubt on that. You're telling me that there is a Russian base under this mall that was built and no one knew a thing?
Who did they hire to build this?
Right? There wasn't an influx of Mexicans in the 80s, were there? How did construction happen in the 80s? I'm saying, as someone who lives in Houston, Texas, okay, and all the construction is pretty much but like who built stuff back in the 80s? I just don't know.
People.
I'm messing.
Built stuff in the
So
80s.
the town people. You tell me
There
the town
were
people,
malls
right?
and stuff in the 80s that hit real.
No. So the town folk.
They had to buy like the concrete from someplace, right?
Yeah, someplace local.
And the
right?
rebar and the electrical wiring. You know that came from someplace,
And usually I would think someplace, well, if not local,
and all
but
that
nearby.
dirt went somewhere.
Yeah, you can follow that, so people would know. It wouldn't just be like some crazy conspiracy that the mayor would keep secret. It'd be like, wait, there were other hands involved, literally involved in making this.
So it wasn't like the Great Escape where they could, shake the dirt out from their trousers as they walked around.
Right?
That's great, man. That is great.
Oh my god.
So let me, and I haven't done this. So you're saying there's a Russian lab underneath a mall?
There is
a massive complex.
massive,
Okay.
and it gets more elaborate.
Like dozens of stories deep underground with miles of tunnels.
Think of
that
Star
you'd have
Wars.
to
So what
set.
the whole part of this is it just because it's the Russians that have this lab there,
It's
or
the
the whole idea
Russians.
that there'd be a lab underneath the mall? Because to me, that I'm not a conspiracy theorist guy, but I do believe. I guess this makes me a conspiracy theorist. I do believe that there are stuff like that built under some malls and things like that.
Maybe
I'm not saying they're
maybe a
Russian,
bunker.
but
Yeah.
here in America, I do believe that there are those types of things. And where I grew up, I think that there's literally. And I assume just from talking to a dad that worked there when I was younger, and he was just pulling our leg, talking about some of the things that he saw at the lower levels of the place where he worked. It was like, holy shit, dude, there's some really, really strange stuff there.
I wouldn't be surprised if they built bunkers underneath these big buildings like malls and whatever, but it's kind of a waste now. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. But people would know about it. It wouldn't be like the secret. Like they would know that there's a bunker. Well, especially the people who built it. But if it was
they
like
may not know what it was for, but they
Yeah.
would know that it was there.
in a foreign government doing that, just
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I agree with you. The whole idea that a foreign government had done it, that's a little bit strange. They jumped the shark, I would say, a little bit with that one.
and it's fully populated. Like when I said earlier, like like a Star Wars set. Like in Star Wars, when they went to the Death Star, that's what it looked like. Like inside, except instead of stormtroopers, they were just dressed as Russian soldiers. So,
Right?
Yeah.
And they shot it just exactly as well.
yeah. Oh, hey, thanks, Cool Tactic, for the $5 shot. Because of that, I will take this.
Whoa,
Cool
yeah, I
Tactic
like this.
says, why do aliens only abduct drunk rednecks?
Because they're the best type. Because
Actually, that's not true. A lot of
we're not the best type. Damn you,
a
SK.
lot of no. They might be the best type, but it's not just drunk rednecks. There's a lot of new agey city folks who get abducted too.
Hipsters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wish they'd take more of them.
Take them all.
And their avocado toast. And their freaking chicken farms.
Artisanal air.
Their paper straws.
I wish they'd take more of them. Oh, man.
Just take it off.
Started.
Don't get you started. Everything in
No.
California. They tell them what
Yes. Why I'm moving.
You know, speaking of the aliens, and somebody else listening, maybe you can look this up or something, but I'm pretty sure, who was the one that did the radio broadcast of War of the Worlds? Was it, I can't remember, H.G. Wells? Anyways, there had never been, and somebody can check me on this, I might be wrong. Was it? Okay. But before that radio broadcast, there had never been an official report of anybody ever seeing a UFO in the United States of America. Ever. And then after that radio broadcast, there were thousands. That's what I've heard. I don't know if that's true. But if that is true, that would tell you something about the human psyche.
By the way, the reports of mass panic, not true at all.
What do you mean mass panic?
Really?
Yeah. The people, there is the urban legend is that there was mass panic during the radio show. People thought it was really happening. It did not happen at all. It was totally made.
Okay, so people knew it was just a radio show.
I could.
Everybody knew it was a radio show. It was announced as a radio show. There were commercials in the middle of it, like a radio show.
What? Wait, you mean to tell
Nobody
me
was fooled?
You mean to tell me that my professors at college lied to me and had me believe that it was a...
No, they didn't. They didn't lie because they believed it.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Damn it.
New York Times lied.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like a publicity stunt for it? Is that what it was?
Probably.
No, it was just... It was just an exaggeration made up by some asshole reporter.
Wait, hold on, this guy. Exaggeration made by some reporter are clickbait back then.
Yes. Ancient clickbait.
I've got a question for you. I've got a question. So if you think about this urban legend or whatever that was, 100 years from now, when people are talking about what was the Blair Witch Project, 100 years from now, are people going to think? Because literally, I know people that were literally going around saying, this is real, this really happened. But I would also say there was not mass panic, because anybody with a goddamn brain knew that this was not the real footage. But there were people that really did believe it.
Oh, wait. Did you find the real footage?
The Blair Witch as a movie was awful, but as a marketing campaign, it was brilliant.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. But 100 years from now, did any of you guys think it was real?
Well, no.
No. I thought it was a shitty
They did
movie.
the same kind of thing with Paranormal Activity, too.
But tell me, maybe I'm wrong. I'll bet you all know somebody that thought it was real.
I know people who think it's really good. They'll reference the Blair Witch as like their favorite horror movie, and I'm like, okay. Okay.
Did they even like horror? I mean,
I must hang
to
around a different kind of crowd because I don't know anybody who thought it was real.
I'll get
Oh,
the
real?
guys.
Okay.
I'll find you someone.
When it came out, I was like 17 when it came out, and I mean, I do know there were people in my high school that thought like, hey, this is the real footage of what happened. So I mean, people.
If I had seen it in high school, that probably would have been true for me as well.
Yeah, but high school kids are pretty damn stupid. Like they'll take anything as true, right? I mean,
I wasn't stupid.
Well,
no.
My point was,
Tammy. Hashtag.
My
not
point
all.
was this: if that could be the case with Blair Witch Project, could that have been the case with War of the Worlds? Could there have been like high school kids when they heard about it? They're like, "Hey, dude, we heard that the aliens are here." Could that have happened back then?
Oh yeah, I totally believe that. Okay, wait. If right now in this decade, if there's some stupid preteen girls that believe in a Slender Man cult, or were preteens were gonna like drain the blood and drink it for Satan, which I read in a news story on this channel. Yeah, I totally believe that if someone heard
it could happen at any age.
Yeah, you give them any reason to believe in some nonsense, they'll believe in it.
I think more people these days would believe in it than back in 1999.
Oh, Tammy, you give them too much of benefit of doubt. They were just as dumb back then.
Well,
I
hope my wife's listening to that. I hope my wife. My wife believes. She believes that the aliens built the pyramids.
Well,
my wife believes
isn't that a fact?
Oh yeah, she can bring up some pretty good arguments. She can bring up some good arguments. But she believes that the aliens came and they helped the Egyptians move the blocks and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like they came down with their UFOs, they picked up the blocks, and they moved them. You saw that on the History Channel, right? The History Channel has ancient aliens.
That made it real.
It's called the History Channel for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, we're schooling Clark Roberts. He's supposed to be a teacher, but come on now.
Right. I guess that's how I should present it to the kids, is where the aliens came here, and they did it. And that was hundreds of years before they did the War of the Worlds, too. My thing is, if that were the case, like literally they have the technology to get here, but then the best that they can do is show us how to build with big giant blocks.
Well, one of the arguments that I've heard is, which is kind of interesting on the surface, is that, there are pyramids on every continent.
Oh, hey, Escape, stop it. Stop it. Now, this is what my wife says, and they literally did come about in the same part. Just stop. That is a good argument, I have to admit, but you're going to, you're going to debunk it right now with the same theory I have.
If you throw a bag of wooden blocks on the floor and put a toddler in front of them, they're going to build a fucking pyramid out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's the first thing you build.
Yep. I think that my wife brings that up, and it's such a solid argument, but it's like, no, because human language, even, you can look at, if you study human language, within a certain amount of time frame, people in all areas of the world started speaking a type of language. Well, people are naturally going to start building things, and eventually you're going to start building with big blocks. And that's just how, and you're going to build pyramids first.
Yeah.
But she did. She had me convinced for a little bit. I'll admit, she had me convinced for a little bit that there was no way that people in South America could build pyramids like the people in Africa could without the help of aliens. I'll admit, she had me convinced there for a little bit.
Based on what? Because I'd be like, are you being prejudiced? Like, what are you saying? You think South Americans can't build pyramids now? Tammy G's part Latina, okay? Very offensive. Very offensive. Tammy G, how do you feel about that?
Oh, man, we don't need to go there.
I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you, dude.
I'm just trying to sell a couple kids books, man.
We're past the kid's bedtime. Hey, any kid that stays up late, any kid that stays up this late probably has a parent that doesn't care if they're watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
No, that's
okay.
That's probably true.
Let's see. Wait, I think we have Texas versus Florida coming up.
We only have Texas. I'm sorry, Florida. I have Florida headlines. You want to hear some?
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I couldn't find any fresh Texas headlines. I'm sorry. Texas can be just as weird as Florida, but Florida outpaces Texas on quantity by miles.
That's a relief. We're a bigger state too. You think we? All right.
I don't know. There's something going on there.
Well.
All
right. Let's
Florida
see how
man.
This can be.
Florida man's trying to sell a Bugatti for $128,000.
The Bugatti,
but it's not a Bugatti. He has taken a what is it? It's a old Cougar and put a new body on it and Bugatti decals.
Oh wow!
And trying to pass it off as a used Bugatti.
Oh wow!
I mean, one of the dials is from a Chrysler, and even though they put a Bugatti sticker on it, they didn't take the Chrysler sticker off.
Wait. Is there an image of this thing? Oh my.
Yeah. I mean, the body. I gotta say, the body looks pretty good.
If I just search Florida Bugatti, this is the first thing that's gonna come up.
Here. Yeah. Florida man Bugatti.
Hold on here, Florida man Bugatti.
I don't even know who Florida man is.
Oh, Florida man. He's what keeps us
alive.
That's it.
What?
The Florida man. He keeps that state alive. He keeps it interesting.
Okay.
Is he like a YouTuber or something like that?
No, it's just a
Here,
meme.
Jesse, I sent you the link.
It's pretty much just a meme. Florida man. That's it's pretty much what they call all the. Anytime there's something crazy going on in Florida, they call it Florida man. Oh, that's Florida man doing it.
I got it.
Yeah,
Well, it's not one specific person.
No.
Okay.
That's what.
Yeah, there's too much shit going on for one guy.
Yeah.
Besides, half of them end up in jail.
hmm
It looks cool though.
All right, let me pull up this image.
Right?
I know. I want to
Yeah.
see it too. All right, let me get.
But
this
he
image
called
here.
it a Kugati.
The car magazine guys called it the Kugati.
Okay.
I gotta say, the
Kinda
body
cool.
work is pretty good,
It looks sick. I'd drive that.
but inside it's a little sketchy.
Let me see the inside.
Oh, I see it now. Okay, let me share this.
Yeah. I'm not crazy about the inside.
Man, my browser is so slow right now.
It's so dirty. You could have
Yeah.
cleaned that up. That's gross.
For 125,000, you better get it detailed.
I'll
Mhm.
take the house that's parked in front of it.
Right? Wait. The house is not that fancy though. It's just a driveway.
No, that house is pretty. I like the
Wait.
style. I like that. The
You-
second,
Okay.
the house is pretty.
I guess so. Is it? What do you guys think?
Go scroll down to the like.
Oh,
picture.
what a! I think. Oh God, that is really. Look, it's such a mashup of styles.
I
You
think
got
it's cool.
this really shitty,
It's like the car. It's like the car. It's
Yeah.
like a mashup of styles.
Oh,
you
shut
got, you
up!
got
I
this
like it.
stone and brick and this whatever that.
It's different.
Yeah,
It's
Not
not,
that
cookie
image.
cutter. It's not,
Not
a
that
track
image.
home.
All right, let me pull up the image real fast.
You guys are saying no to that, though, huh?
I like it.
Here's the Kugati.
It almost reminds me of one of those Nissans from the side, though.
This thing looks horrible.
yeah.
Yeah, from the front. I like it from the front, but that's about it. The rest of it's
This
good.
house looks like something like a reject from Harry Potter. It doesn't even.
Oh, shut your mouth! I like the house. I like it. Leave me alone.
What do they call that fake English Tudor style? That is really crappy Tudor.
It is kind
what
of Tudor.
But
I
it's
like
a
the little
crappy
round
Tudor,
buttons,
and it
like a
looks
little
like
castle.
blue stucco.
Oh, shut up.
And then there's this stone turret, but then there's brick over here.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
Let's look at this house again. Yeah, I'm more focused on this house.
Okay,
than my
really?
brother's car.
Are we done with the house?
Well, there's one thing I want to point out. Yeah, you have the brick
Uh.
and the stucco. Well, what is that supposed to be?
Yeah.
It didn't. No.
Nobody
Okay.
asked you.
Well, no one asked me anything. I'm doing the show anyway. What? No one asked for any of my opinions. Have you seen this YouTube channel? I talk about
At
all
least
sorts of
there's a
stuff.
Mercedes minivan. That's okay.
Yeah. All right, what's the next story?
Next story: Florida men pull guns on McDonald's employee over cold burgers. Get arrested while waiting for warm ones.
What?
Well, that's what you
Oh
do, right?
God.
Two Florida men were arrested Monday after pulling pistols on a drive-thru employee at a Palm Coast McDonald's who served them 5 burgers that weren't heated to their satisfaction, according to sheriff's report. Two guys were busted shortly after 4 a.m. after they reported to complain their burgers were cold, then brandished pistols. I don't play about my food, David said.
Oh my god.
That's a quote.
That's great.
The quote was, I don't play about my food.
Yes.
That's great.
I gotta start saying that.
I don't play about my food.
Oh, yeah, I don't play about my food. That's got to be my next go-to line for the next 3 months of my life.
That is
I love
amazing.
You gotta put that on your next book somehow.
Yeah.
That sounds like a
Yeah.
title.
Sorry, Ma, I don't play
That's a
about my food.
cookbook title, right?
Yeah, but I'm kind
I love it, dude.
of leaning on defending this guy because you go to McDonald's, they give you cold burgers. Why? They have no excuse for that. They keep their meat heated up. It's like,
Yeah?
But you can't pull a pistol on someone because your burger's not warm.
well, no, you have to gradually escalate it. But like, this burger's cold. No, it's hot. Fill it. It's ice cold, like you just got it out from the freezer. No, I don't want to touch
Like,
it.
how long has it been sitting there at that point? Yeah, I see your point. I see, how long that burger's been sitting there, but...
So
Hold on.
Tammy,
Some brass knuckles, but not a gun.
oh, okay. So gradually escalate it. So how many times do you have to tell the guy to give you a warmed up burger before you bring out brass knuckles?
I get to pull my pistol.
Yeah, before you bring out a knife.
Like 3 times.
3 times. 3 times for brass knuckles. How many times for a knife?
We'll go 5.
Okay. So like what, 8 times, then a gun? Like, okay, man, I don't want to do this, but
But I mean, I'm not gonna really cut somebody. But maybe just to scare them.
Yeah, well, that's what they
Top hat.
thought too. Now they're in jail.
The top patty of my Big Mac's too hot, and the bottom patty's too cold. I'm pissed. That's great.
oh, look at the chap pulled a Warski.
Hey, the second story also involves food.
Do tell.
Burglar
Second
cooks breakfast, tells resident go back to sleep.
Don't mind,
Authorities say a burglar
I like
broke
that
into
one.
a Florida home, cooked himself an early morning meal, and told the resident there to go back to sleep. The home's occupant told investigators he awoke to discover the man cooking and eating sometime after 4 a.m. Tuesday.
Why
That's
doesn't
On a
hilarious.
Tuesday.
like what would you do at that point?
On a
If-
Tuesday.
yeah, on Tuesday. Someone's cooking in
Hey.
your home, right? Like, wait.
Burglars got to eat too.
Hey, wait a second, dude. You just broke
Well,
into my
Lacey
house
told
and
him just to
cooking?
go back to bed and kill him.
Yeah, but I'd be like, no, man, I want some of those eggs. You're cooking those eggs? I want some of those fucking eggs. It's my fucking eggs. Every time we go back to sleep.
Sleep.
Oh, sorry.
Language.
Language. We would never make it. We would never make it. We'd never make it on a live radio show. I couldn't even censor myself anyway. Can't even do the timing right. Ready? Fuck. See, he's off. Fuck. 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 It's off. It's off. Son of a bitch. See, he doesn't even censor.
Flipper!
Son of a fuck.
Hi, Billy Mays here.
Oh, that was loud. Jesus Christ.
Hey, I was good. I didn't really say anything bad.
All right, here's the next one. Florida man arrested after the ID he showed police turns out to belong to a wanted criminal.
No, that's great.
That's a good one.
You got to screen those fake IDs now, okay? You got to make sure they're
Yeah.
legit.
Yeah, he was. This guy was detained by police. He flashed a fake ID that belonged to somebody who was already wanted.
Was
What
it
an
like a
idiot.
serial kill- What a crazy if it was like a killer. He got pulled over for a traffic
Maybe.
stop. It was like it gave him something that was like
Yeah.
a serial killer or something.
All of these stories should serve to reinforce or help demolish the mythology of the criminal mastermind.
Oh yeah, that's
Does not exist.
that's why Florida Man is a good example. Yeah, There's no criminal mastermind there. Not at all.
All right. So this last one is brilliant and hilarious. Slippery Florida woman. Hold on. That's not the story.
I'm Googling the image right now. Slippery Florida woman. But I get the image right now.
Slips out of handcuffs, climbs into front seat, and drives off in cop car.
Oh, I do like that one. That's a good story.
Slippery when wet. What can I tell you?
Yeah.
According to an
What do you know
arrest
about that,
report obtained by Gainesville.com, a woman who claimed she was being stalked to the High Springs. Blah, blah, blah. This does not make any sense. For some reason. Anyway,
that happened several times because I get multiple women that were slippery, slips out of handcuff. Let me tell you something.
Jesse, I just want to say that if you're going to handcuff your midgets, you need to get the junior size handcuffs.
Oh, by the way, turning a new leaf here. So we got new blood, we got Tammy G. We got to let old jokes die. The midget joke is killed. No more midgets. I'm no longer running the midget brothel. Okay, I'm releasing them. They're free. If Tammy wants to play with them, she can. But I mean, they're all female. Are you cool? Bite size female. Are you cool with that, Tammy?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, but they're free now. They're free. So.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe I'm being too nice.
No. If you capture somebody, let them go free.
That's right.
I guess
That's right. I'm just decided. It's time. They need to go out and do their own thing. So there's somehow you're gonna probably hear about this report about in Texas a man released a bunch of midgets from his house. That may or may not be me. Okay, so
They'll be talking about on Max Booth's podcast.
Yeah, I'm just giving him plenty material to work with. Oh my god!
Yeah, that's how he's going to take you down. He's going to take you down with that story right there.
Jesse runs a midget brothel. Oh, hey, Max Booth. People once came at me for being an ableist for Psycho Holiday for that cover. So I'm just throw that out there. Someone on Twitter they were calling me an ableist. An ableist.
I don't even know what the fuck that means.
What does that even mean?
It means. Wait, I'm not the teacher here. What does ableist mean?
I don't even know. Don't. It's too late in the night for me to go into definitions and stuff, man. I'm just going to say this. I love that cover. That was an awesome cover, man. That was the one with Santa and the chainsaw.
Yeah, let me find that cover, by the way. Let me get that.
Yeah, anytime you can take Santa Claus and put a chainsaw in his hand, that's probably a good thing.
Yeah, it's a great thing. That needs to happen every Christmas.
For the horror movie, a room full of kids. I don't know. I thought that was a great cover.
Oh, by the way, we also have a caption contest.
We do.
Nobody even really. I think there was like one person besides all of us that posted on there. Let me go find it.
That's sad. You know what happened, Tammy? It's because
I did a bad job.
No, well, I didn't make it about me. See, they only want to laugh at me. That's what it is.
Boy.
I swear. But that's what it is, though. If you put my face on there, they'll laugh at it. They'll be like, "Oh, okay, let's laugh at."
Oh
Jesse.
yeah, if your face is on there, probably 15 people would have commented. That is true.
Yeah, but we got a bunch with Big Tits McGee last week.
Well, that's because of tits.
Well, I was going to say, tits will do the job even better
the
than...
dude has tits in this picture, too. Like I said, they look bigger than mine.
Not the same.
Bigger, but not necessarily better.
No, this is true. No, they're not bigger. Mine don't sag like that. Okay, so let's see.
Do we now? But I don't know.
Yo.
I don't know. Got a show to prove. I don't know. Anyway.
You posted that video from today. I mean, that shows it all.
All right, here's the image on the screen here. It's a dude wearing a diaper.
I mean, it does look like Jesse.
Oh, come on.
Oh my god.
I couldn't even do
I
that.
guess the Wile E. Young has to win it, right? I mean, none of us can really win that, can we? We're part of the show.
Hey, Clark Roberts, maybe. I mean, what did he put there?
No, I don't need it. No.
Sorry,
give
Dad.
it to the other winner, man. The other guy, but
Okay.
And what's
When
happened to
Mom's
Ralph
been
Moody? How
helping
come he
with
has been winning everything lately?
I don't know. Some people, I think they took sides. That's what I'm going to say. I think some people took sides over something. Over something that's not even worth it. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. But we'll have a better caption. Oh, so what did Wolf, what was his name? Wolf? Wiley Wolf? What did he say?
Wiley.
He
Wile E.
said
Coyote.
when. Hold on. I lost it. Where did it go? He said, when Mom says the meal comes with a toy.
That's actually good.
That is good. That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, being that's the only one, really, other than us, automatic winner, I guess. Look at that. All right. We'll have to do something much better than this one, Tammy. Okay.
Sorry, I failed.
I know
Are you
have
sure that's not you, Jesse?
Look, man, there's things in my past I can't reveal. I'm just gonna be hush about this one.
Yeah.
Cool Tactic says it looks like a Funimation employee. That's another joke that only I will get here. But yeah, he does. Okay. Man, this is great, Clark Roberts. Oh, you know what? Do you got a new favorite horror movie? Something you've seen recently, maybe? I don't know.
you know what? I haven't seen any of the. Dude, my wife and I, we got a 4 and 2-year-old, so we don't get to the movies. Yeah, and I know SK probably remembers me saying this, but I'll just say it: the most underrated horror movie of all time, in my opinion, is Frailty.
Yeah.
You know, that's that movie.
Yeah, it's
You haven't seen it?
fantastic.
Yeah, you got to see that
Fantastic.
one, man. Great movie.
I don't. Yeah, that's right. Like last time, I still have not seen that movie. I need. Okay, I need to check that.
I
movie.
have.
No, you really do have to see that one. That is a good one.
Hey,
Honest God.
and I got to tell you, one of the things that I love in a movie that rarely happens, and I mean rarely happens, is really honest to God being surprised at the end.
Yep.
And that happened with Frailty.
Yep. And like you said last time, it happens like in the last minute of the movie. You're like, what?
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
That's a good. Yep.
Yeah.
I honestly, I think it's the most underrated. Maybe not even. I don't know. I think it could be considered horror, but I think it's the most underrated horror movie of all time.
Cool.
Highly recommended.
I have to check it out. Okay, well, Mr. Roberts, it's great having you on the show. Feel free to come back anytime.
Hey, just real quick, I want to say.
Sure.
Oh no!
Oh, you know what we didn't
seriously,
announce?
guys.
We didn't announce something that we were going to build up to. I don't know if you wanted to. The earnings for the book. Did you?
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I wasn't. That's not where I was going to go. But yeah, thank you. I'll do this real quick. So the money that's been generated for the from the book so far, a lot of people know this. I'm donating it to the school that I work at, and then my old school. And I love basketball. I've coached basketball. I played basketball, and I'm donating that money to the boys and the girls programs at these two schools. So I'll split the money up, and we've come to. I think the numbers. My goal was $400. Came a little bit short, but we're close. It was $391. So $391 will be split up amongst the boys and girls programs in Newaygo, the boys and girls programs in Coleman as well. Anybody listening or does listen to this that buy the book, thanks so much, man. Dead Man's Tome in general, thanks for the opportunity. I really, really appreciate it, and absolutely love what you guys do for the horror writing community. And I hope you guys keep crushing it. I hope it blows up big for you. I think it's good. I think you got good things in the future.
Thanks, man. Thanks, and I hope so. I hope to keep trucking forward. But man, not gonna lie, what was it like? I think 190. Was that it? Earnings for the book so far? I think it's pretty good.
But then I sold. I had some that I was selling. I think I had 201, and I think you told me it was going to be. I think it was 190.
Yeah,
so when you put those numbers together, 391, which is awesome. Absolutely awesome. I'm going to be able to get those out to the basketball.
Wow, that's impressive. $391,000. That's incredible.
How long ago was this book published?
I'm just shipping it all away too. Just giving it all away too.
I should know.
What a guy.
I should know the publishing date. When was this book published? It was where are you? July. It was released in July. So.
Yeah, I'm happy, man, and I thanks so much for the opportunity, and hopefully a few people buy it here and there still.
Oh, and cool tactic. I'll definitely check out Blasphemous. I totally like those Metrovania games. Those are some of my favorites. So I'll check that out as well. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening and watching. Press the like button, share, subscribe. You guys, ladies, take it easy.